the resistance of the old, because old is comfortable, familiar, and family and things we've known, can hold us in a stymied place longer than we need to be there. So the more we open to an escalator drawing us forward, the quicker and faster the energy moves in to support us.
Mm.
That's true for everyone. It's time to let go of the mind, the analytical mind, and the questioning and the disbelieving, and allowing everything to run through the analytical mind for truth or not truth. It's time to close that half, allow that half to be there, but open the other half fully up and to live in it. Live in the joy, imagination, joy, goodness, elation, infinite possibility, awareness, to be the the the, the journey ahead. So it's to really allow, if we were to see that the 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 analytical mind is like a past life, we can stay there, but it kind of keeps us grounded in the energy that's already been.
Yeah.
So there's no new in it. We can't bring that with us because it doesn't belong in this life. This is infinite possibility where the analytical doesn't belong. So that's like you can't drag that energy into a new energy field. So as long as you stay magnetized to that energy, you're going to stay in the old field. So kind of like letting your opening your parachute. You know when you drop out of an airplane and you've got a string to pull because you're falling, and you have to pull that string in order for the parachute to open.
Mm.
If you didn't pull the string, you would drop significantly to nothingness. If you didn't jump out of the plane, you wouldn't experience the new fall in order to have the new awareness opening chute to come in and support you and draw you upwards. So it's like the plane door is open, but you're not going to jump because the plane's familiar. So it's like going for a jump out of an airplane, but you're not willing to jump when it comes your turn to let go and fall. There's a certain surrender in the fall, but knowing that there's the pull of the parachute, and the parachute opens and draws you upward. And then you're supported all the way, and you land beautifully, softly, sweetly on the ground. So nothing can happen you once you pull your chute. But fear can keep you stuck to the old paradigm,
Mm.
like standing in the plane and being petrified to jump. Although you're at the edge and you have to jump, you can go back down again and stay safe in fear, or you jump.
Mm.
So that you can't drag the old with you. You can't drag the old with you. It's like the line in the sand where the dark blue and left light blue, because of the shelf, the 800-meter whatever shelf drop that was in the ocean. You can't drag that forward, right? That's a wall, and the wall is there, and then on the other side
Yeah.
is white sand. It's like one is one and the other is the other. They are what they are, but you can't drag the two of them across just to keep your comfort zone in place. So there is a jumping off point, but know that everything that you need is there for you to be supported. But it's faith that makes you jump, and faith you have when you jump out of an airplane. You hope that the parachute has been packed properly, and you hope that when you pull that cord, the chute will open.
Yeah.
But it is faith. Between those moments, you have absolute faith. You don't question the person that packed the chute. Did you pack this chute perfectly? Is this going to support me? No, you don't. You do it.
Yeah.
We're clinging to the old because the old's familiar and family. Everything that's familiar and family, because that's all our past lives, our past histories, our, our infinite lifetimes we're attached to all that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even though we no longer want to be. They're all there waiting for it to happen. For all of Atlantis to wake up on Earth. There's many, many souls on Earth with her from that time. But the power will ignite. The fire will ignite once they start awakening in numbers. So the awaken of one will awaken more, and that will give the faith and belief in others to awaken. So it's kind of like a sleeping giant at the moment, where there's all this energy potential that's not been harnessed because there's the fear that has to be gotten over. And that's why this time of fear is here, because it's helping to keep them in this state of disillusionment. That's why to stay outside the fear is very important, because as long as the fear is here, then they stay hidden, not let their light shine. So that's why the potential is there, unless it's trusted and belief in it, for what it can bring forth. Then the negative energy, the mind can control the heart. The mind can control the heart.
Mm.
So the heart feels the pain. The heart remembers the pain. So the pain of the past memories can be the dwarfing of the energy that can be the giant of awakening on this life cycle that we're all on.
So with regards to the Atlantis souls awakening, is there a estimated time frame when that's going to really start happening?
That starts happening as soon as people wake up and do the work that needs to be done. And if everyone did that from that era and had faith in themselves and faith in love and faith in life and faith in going forward, then it would happen in the blink of an eye. It's there, the potential is there. But the energy that's holding it back is the energy of fear that has deliberately been placed on the planet to help to dwarf the awakening, but also you have to go into mastery before you can self-master. So they're both same side of the same coin, and there's nobody doing it and nobody been done to them. It actually is like a sleeping giant, unless the giant wakes and opens its eyes and starts moving around and starts wakening up, things don't happen. So the memory of the fear on Earth is a memory of the fear of other things and times and negativity that keeps the dwarf being dwarfed. See, a dwarf can become a giant just by awakening into his realization of who it is. Like a little baby elephant and a chain around its foot. So you've trained that baby elephant with a chain around its foot. And it grows up to be tons of an elephant, big and massive and huge, could move mountains. But it has the program of having a chain around its foot. So it stays in the location that it grew up in because it has the memory of a chain around its foot. Do you know that's how they train elephants?
Mm.
That's the same analogy. It's the same energy. It's the same thing. So all it is energy. It's the belief and oneself and the correct use of tools like the heart and the minimization of the mind, meaning the analytical mind. So we have to dwarf one and create a giant out of the other. Right now, the balance is the other way around. So we've made a giant out of the analytical mind, which has now got a lot of fear in it. And now the heart is dwarfed. The shift can happen in a blink of an eye if it shifts to the other side. So it really is, we're all sleeping giants, all of us, because of the memories of those things are keeping us down, keeping us small, and that's what's keeping me small.
Is there anything that's going to happen on Earth or close to Earth that'll help people wake up in the future?
Nothing external. It has to come from within. There is no savior. There is no one. There's nothing that will take place on the outer. It has to come from the inner. Because otherwise, it would be false. If something external woke you up, then you'd be dependent on that external thing, and you wouldn't be fully fledged, awake individual because you didn't do it yourself. Like you had to ride a bicycle. Remember when you crawled before we walked? We had to strengthen our legs crawling and get the muscles working before we could walk, before we could run, before we could get on a bike, and then we had to use new muscles on the bicycle. And we were very wobbly, and then we started to get really good on the bicycle, and then we could master the bicycle, and then it goes on and on and on and on. So we have to do it ourselves, just like crawling, walking, cycling, because otherwise we wouldn't have developed the right muscles of mastery in ourselves.
Yeah.
So we'd miscreate again. It's like giving a child a fire lighter. Wouldn't know what to do with it. Putting a child in a cot with a whole bunch of what do you call those things? They do fireworks. What would a child do with a firework? Blow itself up. Take its eye out, its hand off. So no, we have to learn everything from the ground up. So this is from the ground up as well, and we're the ground. We are the ground. We are it. Always at the perfect place where everyone is, but her life has to be managed from within. So it's her managing her own life from the inside out will create everything that she needs and wants in her life. So it's inside more than outside. So it's not through external, it's through internal. Going internal, using the energy of the heart, the color of gold in the heart, knowing that has an effect on the outer. It's not trusting that something so simple, looking through the mind, but when you see the power of the heart, as now it's just like the heart's pumping gold, that's way more stronger than the mind ever. So that's our manifestation. Our new way of manifesting is actually through the heart, living our lives through the heart. And then we will match everything that we create, and the vibration will match everything that comes from the outer world to us. So we bring everything to us, and we are brought to everything because of the the heart, the vibration of the heart. So we're back on vibration and frequency and all of that, and not actually even Atlantis life is exactly the same as what we're here to do now. We've just moved. So we've moved, something has moved, Earth has shifted. And now we have to create in a new way. We can't create with the tools that we used in the old Earth life. Earth has moved forward. We have to move forward with it. Because there's no other way. We will, until we wake up, there's nothing else. There's nothing is coming from the outside. And actually, there's nothing even stopping us. But it's just the resonant fear. Like a wall. Now it's like a black wall of ice. So it's like a black wall of ice around the earth. It's symbolic of who we all are on earth, not alone. So it's using the heart to create and using the heart to live. Do you live by the heart?
Yeah.
Ask the heart everything. It knows everything. You know, just to go back on that, because that's really interesting, because just the way the creation happened of when they started creating from the mind without knowing the mind was going to affect Atlantis so badly. And then there was that shift, that torque, that 25-degree move, and everything fell off. And then kind of was the end of Atlantis from that time on. It's kind of like on Earth. Earth has already went through or going through her own shift. She's got a gold center. So she is in a heart resonant frequency. We're moving through time on her. So we're the ones on her outer skin, just like the people standing on the ledge of that thing that moved. So the ones that don't move will end up like falling off, just the same way they fell off in Atlantis. They just, you know what I mean? It just that's probably symbolic, falling off like you're right, but meaning that if we don't use our tools, then we don't have anything left in our bag of tricks. It's kind of like it went from bows to arrows to guns. You know, at one time you had a bow and arrow, and you reach back and you got your arrow and you put it in your bow. Well, that changed, and the next thing you had a gun, right? The gun was much faster and quicker of a tool of execution. Not saying it was good or bad. It was a tool, right? So from the one tool to the other, we've just now moved from one tool to another. And we have to move with it, or else we don't. We will. But there's nothing wrong with that, because just like in Atlantis, you look at it like that's their creation. It's okay, because everyone gets the right to do their own creation. So there's no Grim Reaper, and there's no goodbye bad guy, and there's no wrong or right, because the next time we come back, then we get the opportunity to do it again anyway. There's nothing bad in it, or nothing. You don't cry over it. You just look at it like, oh well, that's their creation.
Yeah.
And it's not cold-hearted. It's just they didn't use their tools. You know, when a baby, when you feed a baby to begin with a little baby. Now I'm seeing a little baby, and first of all, the baby gets breastfed, and then the baby gets spoon-fed, and you're teaching the baby the tools of how it feeds itself. Because at one time it's going to get weaned off the breast. It has to get weaned off the breast, right?
Yeah.
So because the breast is what it knows. So first of all, it comes in with a cord, so it doesn't need to feed because it's automatically given the food. Then it starts feeding from the breast. It learns something new. And then at a time frame, the breast goes away and you got spoon, you know, all the tricks you did for little babies to get them to eat their food. And now here we are eating our food, shoveling it into us without even thinking that at one time we had to get trained before it ended up there and there. You know? So basically it's another tool set in our game of life. Just like we started with the walking and crawling, we walked, we stumbled, we fell, We got up, we stumbled, we fell, we got to walk, we got to run marathons. Just exercising the muscle in a different way, right? Some people exercise it to total mastery. Others just use it as much as they need to, and that's it. Same thing. It's like the person that runs a marathon and uses its muscles, his muscles or her muscles to the nth degree to get to win a marathon, doesn't look back at the person crawling and say, they should just hurry up. You don't do that. You allow everyone their own time to do what they need to do, just like the ones falling off Atlantis. That's their creation, so it's okay, because they come back and then they'll remember that, and then they'll do it different next time. You go towards a hot stove, you burn your hands, and you go, oh, won't do that again. Next time you see the stove, you stay further away from it. So you see, entire life is learning. We learn. So why are we so resistant to use a new tool when we've done it our entire life and every lifetime to come?
Before we finish today, is there anything else that High Self wants to tell us?
That we're on track. That all is well, and there's no fear, there's no regret, and there's no sadness, there's no destruction. None of that is real, yet it is all real, but it's a creation. So there's no, Higher Self would want to say that there's no black or white path. There's degrees of moving forward, and it'll always move forward. Everything moves forward. So it's not black or white, and there's no stymieing and stagnation, because the earth is moving anyway. It's just whether we move with the earth or not move with the earth. So if we don't move with the earth, then we drop off, just like we dropped off in Atlantis. But then there'll be another life where we'll come back on at some other point in time. So it's kind of, what do you say, maybe we're making a bigger deal out of it than it really is. And maybe we've put too much energy into the black or white aspect of it, which comes from the mind. And maybe through that we create more stagnation in our field, because we're a wee bit like a rabbit in a headlight or a deer in a headlight. You're kind of, and that's bringing up the past lives, which we've all had, that keeps us a wee bit stagnant, because there's fear in them, and there's fear in our bodies, and fear in our physicality. So it's all to do with an illusion. So it's really a joy, actually, lightness. Whew. Air, light, happiness, joy, creation, music. That's the way forward. It's actually, those things will actually open the heart more. But if you look forward to something coming from the outer side, it's never going to happen. We have to start it from the inside. It's like each day you do something new to make yourself smile more that day. Be happier that day. Like you go out for a bicycle ride, and then instead of just rushing home, you stand and you get turned on by life a little bit. Whether it's looking at a bird or a leaf or a branch, or leaves turn golden, or wherever you are at any space and time, you just enjoy that moment. And then maybe positive music, positive conversation, positive, everything that's positive will bring you there into alignment anyway, and bring you fully into, you will be in accordance with earth. So doing something differently every day shifts the energy.